Hi there, welcome to Yoga Storytime with Miss Andrea, reading on behalf of the Clearview Library District. Like in yoga, like everything else in life, there has to be some rules or some agreements. Okay, so can you stand up for me, please, and we'll go over our agreements for yoga. What does glue do? It sticks. Stomping feet, 1 and 2, stomping feet, 1 and 2. But if my feet were covered in glue, they'd stick to the glue, my darling. Our first agreement is we'll agree to stay on our own mats. Clapping hands, 1 and 2, clapping hands, 1 and 2. But if my hands were covered in glue, they'd stick to the glue, my darling. Our second agreement is we'll agree to keep our hands to ourselves. And when our hands are at our heart like this, does anyone remember what that's called? It's called Namaste hands or Anjali Mudra. And Namaste is a really old word. Do you remember what it means? It means the light inside of me is also the light inside of you. What does that mean? It means we're all connected, so we should all be nice to each other. Let's have a seat on our mats and we'll get our bodies warmed up for yoga. We'll have a seat with our bottom on the ground and our feet flat on the ground in front of us. We'll start with our hands. Are you ready for yoga? If you're ready, then stomp your hands and make some noise, and stomp your hands and make some noise, and do it really fast. And then stretch them up, way up high, and down. Let's try that with our feet. Are you ready for yoga? If you're ready, then stomp your feet and make some noise, and stomp your feet and make some noise, and do it really fast. And then stretch them up, way up high, and down. Fantastic. Let's try putting those together. But before we put them together, we need to learn how to protect our lower backs. And we do that by toning our core or engaging our tummies. So find your belly button. And then can you make your belly button kiss your back? Yeah, pretty cute, huh? So if we make our belly button kiss our back, that's going to hold our tummies in, will protect the lower back muscles. Let's try putting those together. Are you ready for yoga? If you're ready, then stomp your hands and feet, and stomp your hands and feet, and make some noise, and do it really fast. And then make your belly button kiss your back. Stretch them both way up high and down. Fantastic. It is very windy out there today. So we are going to read a nice, grounding, calming book and do some minimal yoga poses because we mostly want to be just grounded. Our book today is by Sarah Lolley. The illustrations are by Sleepless Cow, and it's called Emily and the Mighty Om. In the summer, someone new moved in next door to Emily. What's this person doing? Carrying boxes, moving into a new house. Let's come into a tabletop pose and make a box out of our own bodies. So our hands are directly underneath our shoulders, our knees are right underneath our hips, and our back is flat to make a box. But just to get a little more stretch in, let's do some cat-cows. Cats and cows in yoga are best friends. So deep breath in. And when you let it out, round your back towards the sun like a cat stretching and say, meow. And like that. And then lower your belly towards the floor, look up and say, moo. Try it again one more time. Round your back, meow. Lower your belly, look up and say, moo. Fantastic. Return to table and then have a seat on your mat. His hair was white, so this new person moving in, his hair was white and his face was wrinkled, but his eyes always seemed to sparkle. His name was Albert. Every afternoon, Albert twisted his body into all kinds of strange positions on his front lawn. It's called yoga, he told Emily, who watched from her front porch. So this pose is called triangle or trikonasana. And can you see how many triangles this makes? Triangles have how many sides? 3. 3 sides, 3 points. There's 1, 2, 3. Here's another one. 1, 2, 3. Pretty fun. Let's make triangle or trikonasana pose. We'll be standing on our mats. One leg will be out in front and those toes will be pointing forward. The other leg will be behind and those toes are pointing to the side. So these toes are pointing towards the top of our mat and these toes are pointing to the side of our mat. And our arms will be out to a T. Take a deep breath in. And then when we exhale, reach forward. And then we'll tick-tock your arms down to one arm raising in the air and the other arm is down by your leg. And you can hold on to your leg. If you have a block or a book, you can put that there. Or you can leave it floating. Inhale up. And let's try the other side. So let's switch our toes. This toe will now be pointing to the side of the mat. And these toes will be pointing towards the front. Inhale, arms up. Take a deep breath to get grounded. And then reach forward, 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 forward. And tick-tock your arms. One up, one down. You want your both shoulders to be in the same plane. So you don't want to be reaching over towards this. Nice. Let's triangle. When he finished, Albert sat with his legs crossed and chanted a single word. Om. What's Om? Emily asked. Albert smiled dreamily. It's a magic word that everything understands. People and animals, trees, even rocks. It helps me feel quiet and relaxed. Emily thought this was a little strange, but she was also curious to see if it really worked. She whispered, Om, to the plants in the living room. And her collection of rocks. Om. And her cat. But they didn't seem any different. Let's try it. Let's have a seat crisscross applesauce on our mats. And to say the word Om, we're going to make our mouths round like a Cheerio and say, oh. And then because Cheerios are really yummy, we can say, and we'll put them together. Take a deep breath in. I think Buka liked it. All right. Emily noticed that every afternoon, Albert was in a different yoga pose. Asanas, he called them. Some of the poses looked easy, but others looked really hard. It looks like he's almost doing some sun salutations here, so let's come onto our mats and we'll do a round of sun salutations here. Repeat after me. Namaste. Butterflies up. Butterflies down. turn to the side so you can see me. Ragdoll, ragdoll. Jumping backwards. Plank pose, plank pose. Down to the floor. Up dog. Down dog. Jumping forward. Ragdoll. Butterflies up. Namaste. That is one round of sun salutations. And that is a very heat-building sequence, so that would also help during today when it's super windy. We can kind of calm down some of that vata energy. One day, Emily came home to find Albert all twisted up. Oh no! Are you okay? Emily asked. Before Albert could answer, a lifeguard cycling past leaped off his bike and ran over. Dude, you're totally stuck. Can we help? Emily asked. Emily and the lifeguard leaned in to hear what Albert had to say. Oh, he managed to say in a muffled voice. Oh. You heard him, the lifeguard shouted. He wants a phone. When I get stuck, I call my mom. He wants to call for help too. Emily was pretty sure she knew what Albert really said, but the lifeguard was an adult. Well, almost. She decided not to say anything. The lifeguard pulled a cell phone from his pocket, but Albert simply shook his head. Oh, he said again. So the lifeguard came to them riding what? A bike. Let's come onto our mats. Onto our backs, and we'll just do some bicycles. Just to keep our bodies nice and warm. Fantastic. Two police officers driving by saw the commotion and pulled over to help. Oh, they heard Albert say. I've got it, one of the officers declared. Whenever I get stuck, I go into my garden to relax. He needs a garden gnome to make him feel in touch with nature. Emily was very sure that's not what Albert was trying to say, but she knew better than to argue with the police. So the police officer is sitting on a chair in the garden. Let's do another heat-building pose for today. Stand on our mats. Our feet are hips distance apart, and we'll do our chair pose. So with chair, we don't want to lean our knees forward. We want to put our bottoms back like we're about to sit down in a chair. So our knees stay in the same spot right over our ankles, and our bottoms go backwards. And our arms go up, so it looks like we're sitting in a chair. Fantastic. The police officer zoomed off and returned with a gnome from the garden at the library, and with the librarian, who insisted on coming to make sure her gnome stayed safe. The officer placed the gnome between Albert's arms. Albert didn't budge. That's highly suspect, she commented. Oh, Albert insisted. A poem, the librarian shouted. That must be what he wants, a relaxing poem. Emily was certain the librarian was wrong, but would anyone listen to her? The librarian took a pen and paper from her purse and quickly wrote a poem called Ode to Albert. Oh, Albert, what horrendous luck! You seem to be profoundly stuck. We tried a phone, we tried a gnome, but clearly what you need's a poem. And here it is, it's short but true and hopefully of help to you. But it didn't work. Didn't you like the poem? The librarian asked, sounding hurt. Oh, Albert shouted. The librarian wrote a poem in her book. Let's Let's come to crisscross applesauce on our mats. We'll have our arms straight out in front of us. We'll open the book, close the book. Open the book, close the book. One at a time. Turn the page, turn the page, turn the page, turn the page. Open the book, close the book. Can we try that with our legs? Put our legs out in front of us. We'll put our arms back to help us balance. Squeeze our tummies in to protect our backs. Lift up. Open the book. Close the book. Open the book. Close the book. One at a time. Turn the page. Turn the page. Turn the page. Turn the page. Open the book. Close the book. That was pretty hard. Do you think we can put those together? Remember how we make our belly buttons kiss our backs? All right, let's try that. Open the book, close the book. Open the book, close the book. One at a time, turn the page. Turn the page. Turn the page. Turn the page. Open the book, close the book. Whoa, that was pretty hard. Well done. The grown-ups all began to talk at once. "He needs a comb," the lifeguard announced. "No, we need to build a dome," the police officer shouted. "Maybe he needs to go to Rome," the librarian countered. "Or we should just leave him alone?" one police officer asked the other. Ignoring everyone, Emily sat down cross-legged beside Albert. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath. She chanted quietly. "Oh," everyone exclaimed. "Om." The grown-ups sat down on the lawn with Emily and tried to cross their legs as she had. They took deep breaths and chanted, "Om." The wind died down and the clouds stopped speeding across the sky. The leaves on the trees stopped rustling. Everything relaxed. After the third Om, there was a soft popping sound as Albert's arms and legs came unstuck. "Whew," said Albert, standing up shakily. "That sure was a difficult pose. Halfway through, I got nervous that I wouldn't be able to do it, and because I was nervous, I got stuck." He turned to Emily. "Thank you," he said, pressing his hands together and bowing his head. "Namaste." It wasn't the last time Albert got stuck, but from then on, everyone knew what to do. And they knew whenever they got stuck, they knew what to do also. The end. So let's come on to our mats. Crisscross applesauce, and we'll do 3 Oms. Deep breath in. Another deep breath in. Last one, deep breath in. Fantastic. Now's a good time for a Shavasana or a guided meditation. Before we do that, we'll bring our hands into the air. We'll touch our thumbs and our pinkies together, say the word peace. We'll touch our ring finger and thumbs together, say the word begins. We'll touch our middle fingers and thumbs together, say the word with. And our pointers and thumbs together, say the word me. It goes, peace begins with me. If that's really hard, you can do this. Peace begins with me. Let's bring our arms down a little bit lower and do it a little bit quieter. Peace begins with me. Bring your arms a little bit lower, say it a little bit in a whisper. Peace begins with me. Bring your hands all the way to your knees, say it silently to yourself. Bring your hands to your heart. Repeat after me. The light inside of me is also the light inside of you. Namaste. Thank you so much for doing yoga with me today. I hope you feel a little bit more grounded in all of this wind. I miss you, and I hope to see you soon.